Second season of HBO's The Newsroom premiered last night. It features a fictional cable news program covering actual news events like Occupy Wall Street. But the biggest drama is behind the scenes.
You have to tell me what the story is.
No.
At least tell me how it relates to the woman from OWS.
She can lead us to someone who might be able to help, but she won't unless you apologize.
Her movement is idiotic and she's unprepared, so as a courtesy, I was dismissive. What does she want an apology for?
Being smug.
That... really?
I know. I've never heard anybody say that about you before, and I certainly can't identify personally.
You're just chock full of beans today, aren't you?
So that's a hard no on apologizing.
Oscar and Emmy Award-winning winner Aaron Sorkin is creator and executive producer of The Newsroom. He's promising big changes in the new season. Welcome.
Good to be here.
Big changes.
Yeah.
What do you mean, more romance and less news?
No. What there is this season, you know, the great thing about HBO is that each season can be like a different volume in a series of books. And so I wanted to do something different this season. And so there's one overarching story that takes us through the entire season, kind of acts as a Christmas tree that all the other stories are hung on. These guys have, it's based on something called Tailwind that happened at CNN in 1998.
A libel action is sort of the center.
That's right.
For everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You admit agonizing a lot over season 2. In fact, going back to HBO and asking if you could redo it, right?
Yeah, that's right. First of all, agonizing is, it's not the first time that's happened. I can't think of anything that I haven't agonized over. Absolutely. But I'd written the first 3 episodes, shot the first 2 episodes, and there was nothing wrong with those. But looking down the road, I saw that the structure that I installed was going to wear out around episode 5 or 6. So I went to HBO and asked them to do something very costly and time-consuming. Could I rewrite the first 3, reshoot the first 2? And they didn't hesitate before they said yes. They've been fantastic.
So did you watch it last night?
I did watch it last night. It wasn't my first time. I've been in the editing room with it for a long time.
But it's still something different than sitting at home and watching it on TV like a regular viewer.
Absolutely. You want to do that. You want to feel what it feels like. Because television, I don't need to tell you guys, is different from other mediums, different from movies and plays. It comes into your home. It's a more intimate experience. And so you do want to feel what it feels like for the viewer at home.
Best producers I know always watch it at home, like 60 Minutes, Don Hewitt and Jeff Fairley. Always watch it at home.
You should do that. And conversely, back in the old days, Woody Allen wouldn't allow his movies to be shown on television, wouldn't allow Annie Hall, Manhattan, any of those movies to be shown on television because he didn't think people would laugh when they were by themselves.
We had Jeff Daniels here last year, but I want to ask you, why did you choose to do a show about the newsroom?
I really love workplace dramas, and a newsroom felt like an exciting workplace, one where you could tell a variety of different kinds of stories. But the reason why I set the show in the very recent past, the reason why it's historical drama, is not to show the pros, here's how you should have done it a year and a half ago. I don't have anything approaching that level of sophistication to do that. The reason why I said it in the recent past was because I really like the dynamic that you can have with the audience when the audience knows more than the characters do.
Here's what's interesting to me. You said this to David Carr, I think. You said, I don't know anything about ratings, and I've had the ratings to back that up. But if I were the president of CNN, I would put the smartest news people I know in a room and ask this question: what would a utopian news show look like? And then I'd ask, what's stopping us from doing that? Mm-hmm. My question is, the Newsroom your utopian news show?
You know, no. And here's why. I don't know enough to make a utopian news show. I have to tell you, there's the difference between writing a show that takes place in a newsroom and doing the news is the same as the difference between drawing a building and building a building, which is to say they're almost unrelated.
Yes. You know, the thing that I like about the show is that it's so topical. When you look at the news today, the Zimmerman verdict, the Asiana plane crash, waiting for the royal baby, do you see any of those making its way onto the season 2 of the Newsroom?
It would be into season 3 of the Newsroom.
Season 3.
And first of all, no one's asked us to do a 3rd season yet.
Would you like a 3rd season, Aaron?
Of course, who wouldn't? So I haven't begun thinking about that. I'm still tinkering with the 2nd season.
I would I'd like to ask you about Corey Monteith, because you've been very candid about your drug problems. He was too, and we're still waiting for the autopsy results. But what is interesting to a lot of people is before he died, he was talking to friends, even the day he died, and they said that he was in such a good place, and that's why it's been a surprise for so many people. What do you think about that when you hear that?
Well, let me be clear that I don't know any of the circumstances
I understand that.
surrounding what happened to Corey, and I wouldn't want to speculate on anything. But to respond to you, I can tell you, and I just want to make it clear to your viewers, what you're referring to is that I had a cocaine addiction for 10 years. I got treatment. This past April was 12 years that I've been clean. So that's my resume. And I can tell you that being in a good place, being happy, being in a good mood is irrelevant to your recovery. In fact, that's a dangerous time. Because once you're clean and sober, you don't know how to celebrate anymore. You've forgotten how to do that. To me, those have been the strangest times. Opening nights, winning an award, something like that. What you want to do is stick with your friends. Just stick with your friends. But something so fantastic is happening. That's the moment when you think, that, boy, I deserve it tonight, or this is the way I know how to celebrate. Frankly, what you have to do is just go to bed early that night.
And that's why it's so stunning to his friends who said, I talked to him, he was excited in his personal life, his professional life, he was good.
Yeah, if there's an addict that you love, don't look for them to be in a terribly dark place for danger signs. It can happen just as easily when you're on top of the world.
Back to the newsroom. What is it you have, and what's the gift to dialogue?
I've loved dialogue ever since I was exposed to it, which is when I was very young. My parents used to take me to see plays when I was a very young age, and they took me to see plays that I was way too young to understand, like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf when I was 9 years old. And I didn't understand what was going on the stage, but the dialogue sounded like music to me, and I wanted to imitate that sound. And so that becomes your own style.
And in the newsroom, Charlie Rose, you're fresh from vacation, but you were making news while you were gone. Jane Fonda, who plays a character, says that she thinks her character would have slept with Charlie Rose.
Yeah. Jane's...
Yeah, explain this to me, please.
Sure. It's a great compliment.
Good choice. I thought so, too.
Jane's character, especially this season, surprises us a little bit with some of the things that she does and she says. But she is certainly not done having fun with her life.
Well, why did she choose me?
Who wouldn't choose you, Charlie?
Good answer, Aaron Sorkin.
Here's back at you. My favorite moment is Will McAvoy listening to Willie Nelson in the bar. Man, that just got me right there.
Well, thanks. And lots of times when I'm stuck, which is all the time, one way to get unstuck is I drive around in my car and I listen to music. And sometimes a song will come on, and I'll think, okay, that song will be great score. I want to write the moment that song will be great score for. That's what happens at the end of episode 2. So that's why you hear the Willie Nelson.
Good luck, Aaron.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Big fans and have been for a long time. Aaron
Awfully
Sorkin.
kind of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the Newsroom airs Sundays on HBO.